It's fair to say that once players are nearing the end of their contracts, they suddenly start to play well, or at least they start to work harder on the pitch. The same can be said about Ousmane Dembele. The Frenchman is definitely leaving Barcelona this summer, but that hasn't stopped the Frenchman showcasing the form that once forced the club to spend a fortune on his acquisition a few years ago. AS Monaco have flattered to deceive in the last couple of years, and owner Dmitry Robolovlev is not too happy with how things have worked out. Therefore, the Russian billionaire is now planning a major shakeup at the Rock. Tchouameni has done all the right things ever since he joined AS Monaco from Bordeaux. However, the youngster is now set to become a marked man during the summer transfer window, with a move to a top European club on the cards. The arrival of Kulusevski has turned things around for Tottenham. The Sweden international was struggling for minutes at Juventus, and maybe a move to London is exactly what he needed to shine. Frustrated by his lack of playing time at Juventus, Kulusevski has recovered his form since joining Tottenham last winter. The 21-year-old Swedish winger has experienced a swift adaptation and integration with Antonio Conte's Spurs. Now we have Kulusevski. He is young, but he's ready for this league. You saw in a difficult match that he can bring us a lot this season. This is what Antonio Conte said before Tottenham's 1-0 defeat against Burnley on February 23rd. As if to remind that it's not only the timeless and infernal duo of Kane and Son that allows the Spurs to get points in the Premier League. The case of the 21-year-old winger is all the more striking as he has shone since his arrival in London from Juventus on an 18-month loan with a purchase option set at €40 million on the 31st of January. Lacking playing time this season, where out of 29 games he played, only 12 were starts, Juventus did not hesitate to pay €35 million in January 2020 to snatch him from the clutches of Atalanta. The Swedish international has been used in many different positions by Massimiliano Allegri. It's hard to find stability and express your talent in such conditions, something he's now doing at Tottenham, where the pressure is also perhaps a little less than in Turin, where the weight of his transfer was still felt. I have suffered so much in recent months. I did not feel myself, and playing like this for my first Premier League start, I cannot describe how I feel, confided the main protagonist after the scintillating victory for Spurs against Man City in a 3-2 win in February. The clash against Guardiola's side was the one where he showcased his talent, scoring his first goal and delivering his first assist in his new colours, with whom he was making his third appearance in the league. Since then, Kulusevski has simply not left the starting 11 of Antonio Conte, who loves to see him start every game for him. A fact largely justified by the performances of the native of Stockholm, who displays a great chemistry with Harry Kane and Heung-min Son, with whom he's trying very hard to combine in a 3-4-3 formation. His complicity with the most prolific duo in the history of the Premier League is growing every week visibly. Very good in transition and valuable in attack, his formidable and precise left foot has already been decisive 7 times in the league, with 2 goals, 4 assists and 1 penalty against Man United. Spurs wants to get closer to Champions League qualification, and if they are to do that, Kulusevski's form is going to matter a lot. Considered one of the best players in Ligue 1, the French international midfielder of AS Monaco, Tchouameni, is likely to greatly animate the summer transfer window. Since leaving the Girondins de Bordeaux in January 2020, Tchouameni has experienced a meteoric rise with AS Monaco. Already considered a very big hope in his position, the 22-year-old midfielder quickly confirmed his full potential by shining in the midfield with the Principality club. An essential element of Niko Kovac's system, he has established himself as a reference to his position in Ligue 1, to the point of logically catching the eye of Didier Deschamps. After the Euros, the coach of Les Bleus had brought him to the fore during the League of Nations. And the least we can say is that Tchouameni had given satisfaction, thus confirming his new status as a confirmed player. This season in a Monaco team that is at the end of a cycle and is still struggling in the league despite the arrival of Philippe Clement, he is certainly the only one to stand out. After almost 2.5 years at the club, the future of Tchouameni no longer seems to be written in Monaco. The French international will surely not lack suitors this summer. According to our information, several big European teams are currently interested in the player bought for 20 million by AS Monaco. Among them, Real Madrid, who particularly appreciate the profile of the player and who want to strengthen their squad with an aging Modric and Kroos. But the Madrid club is not the only one on the case. PSG are also interested. The capital club has been scouting the player for several months now, and the player will be considered a major reinforcement for the Parisian dressing room. But the uncertainty behind the scenes, such as the future of Leonardo in particular, does not make it any easier for the moment. In England, Tchouameni is also widely followed. According to rumours, Liverpool are also on the spot. With the desire to recruit in midfield after Henderson and Milner, the Reds are very interested in the Bordeaux Academy graduate, who has never hidden his love for English football. Chelsea are also on the move and have been following the player for many months as well, but the current situation of the London club could considerably slow down the Blues in this case. Anyway, AS Monaco will not sell their prodigy for less than €50 million, while a clause allows Bordeaux to receive 20% of the capital gain. President Dmitry Rubelovlev, unhappy with the performances of AS Monaco in recent months, will clean up the organisation chart. Just arrived, coach Philippe Clement will also leave. In recent months, AS Monaco seemed very far from the level of a team that aspires to win things, and the change of coach last January has changed absolutely nothing. Already struggling in the league under Niko Kovac, the arrival of Philippe Clement did not really help matters. On the contrary, the Belgian technician has not been able to breathe a breath of fresh air into this group, and the latest results prove it. In addition to a very disappointing elimination in the round of 16 of the Europa League against Braga, the club from the Principality has won only one of its last 8 games. Results very far from being up to the mark give the massive investments of the last few transfer windows. Faced with this situation, club president Dmitry Rubelovlev seems to have reached his limits of tolerance. He believes that Monaco must be able to compete with PSG like in 2017. According to information from L'Equipe, the Russian owner no longer wants to continue with the men in place in Monaco and simply wants to change everything, from the coach to the sporting director through to the vice president. Rubelovlev's first 2 targets are Vice President Oleg Petrov and Sporting Director Paul Mitchell. The club's policy since the appointment of the Englishman to the post does not satisfy the Russian owner at all, especially since his choices were not at all effective. The French Daily specifies that the appointment of James Bunce as performance director was not great either. The latter was also in conflict with Niko Kovac. The Croatian coach particularly criticised Bunce's excessive influence in physical preparation. But that's not all. Petrov and Mitchell won't be the only ones jumping ship. This will also be the case for Philippe Clement, who arrived barely 2 months ago at the head of Monaco. The Belgian technician has never been able to achieve his objectives, to get closer to the podium quickly, and his failure is necessarily linked to Mitchell's decision to dismiss Kovac to bring him in. The vision and speech of the former Club Brugge coach are also very far from what Rubelovlev expects. It's also not impossible that Philippe Clement will be dismissed during the shakeup. The Russian owner is already working to find the successors of the 3 men. Things have changed a lot for Ousmane Dembele in recent weeks. From being whistled at and jeered by his own for the most part of his time, the Frenchman is now getting a lot of respect from the club's faithful. Since signing for Barcelona from Borussia Dortmund for €147 million, Dembele has struggled with fitness and has been one of the most injured players in Europe. Naturally, physical glitches were always going to impact his performances. However, ever since he decided that he would not be renewing his deal at Camp Nou, the World Cup winner has been in the form of his life. In recent weeks, Dembele has been playing like a man possessed, and someone who's got a point to prove. When he first arrived at Camp Nou, the young winger was seen as a direct replacement for Neymar. But if you look at his performances in recent weeks, Neymar who? Joan Laporta wanted to banish him from the first team when it was confirmed that Dembele wouldn't sign a new deal and would leave as a free agent. However, Xavi took a stand, and how well has it paid off? It's always good to know that the coach has your back. This isn't something Dembele had always had. He was great against Athletic Bilbao and brilliant against Osasuna. There is still hope that Dembele might end up staying in Catalonia, but we're sure that Xavi and company won't really be thinking about it just yet. They're doing really well right now, and as they head towards the business end of the season, Dembele's form is going to be crucial. He might not even sign a new contract with the club and might even join some team in England. However, as long as he ends up helping Barcelona salvage their season, Xavi will be happy to have known the winger.